What is up, everyone? This is Ishan Moon from Bibliomaniac Cinephile, and today we're going to be talking about the most anticipated web series, an Indian web series of the year 2021, The Family Man. It's available on Amazon Prime right now. It's streaming on Amazon Prime. The whole series is out. It's the second season, and I hadn't watched the first season all these days. I was really excited to see a Tamil actress, a South Indian actress named Samantha in a Hindi web series, and I just wanted to give it a shot. And when I learned that it's an espionage show, it's a show with a genre of espionage, and it's kind of adventurous. So I thought I should give it a shot anyways. So I started off from the very first season. Now I know that it's been a week since I've made a video. It's because I was traveling, and I really didn't. It wasn't logistically possible for me, practically possible for me to shoot a video. And even right now, I'm really sorry for the background and the locale at where I'm shooting right now. The reason why the lighting is so bad is because I'm not in Bombay. I'm in Ranipet. I'm in my native place, which is like 100 kilometers from Chennai. So it's a very remote area. I really don't have good network over here. I really don't have a good place to shoot the video. So I'm forced to shoot it right here. It's kind of, I'm forced to shoot in a close proximity. So I really don't have any other choice. So bear with me till the end of the video. But do watch it, because we're going to dive in anyways. We're going to talk about the most anticipated show of this year, in India at least. For me, when I watched Family Man, I watched it because of Samantha. And to be honest, she did not disappoint me. But that's the second season. I wanted to watch it from the very scratch, right? So I started off from the very first season, and when I saw the first season, I'm not that familiar with Manoj Bajpayee as an actor, although I do know that he is of the same school as Nawazuddin Siddiqui and a lot of other independent actors who started off from the bottom. And I did appreciate him as an actor, because I'd seen like a couple of short films due to my close friend back in college, but I didn't really follow his work as an actor much. In the movies, at least, I've seen a Tamil movie in which he played a negative role, but that didn't really flaunt his prowess as an actor. But when I watched this Family Man, the very first episode, I was hooked onto it, and it's mainly because of him as the lead actor, and at the same time the supporting crew and the cast that played along with it. There was a synergy between the main actor, between the lead actors and the supporting actors, and that's what I loved about Family Man, because it doesn't really focus on one person. The title is very deceiving, for starters. The title is called The Family Man, but it's just the opposite. There are a lot of cuss words used in this series. There are a lot of other things that are really not. There are a lot of expletives. There's a lot of violence. But the reason why the title comes off as this is because of the fact that he actually does this to protect his family in a way. He does this to protect his nation. He does his duty, and he tries to keep his job away as much as possible from his personal life. And his family believes that he's working in a very menial government job with a meager pay. And what I liked a lot about the show is that the directors Raj and DK have not just given a lot of importance to the screenplay, but also the action sequences, which play a huge role in this show. One of the main reasons why I was hooked onto the show, like I said before, was because of the fact that there are a lot of action sequences and they're really well shot, and not a single scene keeps you seated. You're just at the edge of the seat after every single scene, because there's something that every single scene provides to the series. It adds up. It's an amalgamation of something bigger. And there's no scene that is futile in the series, even if it's a sequence which shows his relationship with his wife, or his wife spending time with her colleague in the office. No matter what happens, every single sequence adds up to a big deal, and every single minute detail is kind of important in this show. Now, the very first season kind of deals with these terrorists from ISIS who end up getting evacuated from that place, by certain ISI, spoiler alerts by the way, by certain ISI agents, so that they can fulfill a mission named Mission Zulfikar in India, which involves a few chemical bombs and stuff like that. And the best part about this was that they did not make it seem like a cliche show, right? There was so much more to it. Now, usually when I watch a movie, there's a lot of, especially in an Indian or a Bollywood movie, there's a lot of attention focused towards the main actor, the antagonist. But over here, there's so much of detailing done, detailing focused towards the, not just the protagonist or the antagonist, but behind what goes behind the mission, and there's so much accuracy in this show because they kind of inspired from real stories, kind of inspired from what has happened and what people have gathered from the newspapers and what has happened in the real life from different sources. And that's what I like about the show, because this is kind of a culmination of all the real incidents that has actually taken place. It also shows that an agent's life is not going to be all rosy, because he's not going to get paid a lot, because at the end of the day he's working in a government job, and the Indian government workers do not get paid much, which is very realistic. And at the same time, his life is not going to be any different at home, because at the end of the day he's going to have a normal personal life just like any other middle class family or an upper middle class family, and he's facing the same issues when he goes back home. He's facing the same issues when he goes to the office for work by his boss, and just like any other human being. And he has to manage this, and at the same time he has to focus on his duty. He's a person who's very dutiful, who has dedicated his whole life towards the nation, but at the same time, like the title suggests, he's a family man, and he tries to keep away his family from his job. Now, there are a lot of supporting actors who play a major role. Talking about the antagonist, Manoj, who plays a Malayali actor who plays Musa Rahman, the main antagonist of the show, kind of played the whole audience, because everyone thought he's going to be innocent, but then he ends up, manipulating the nurse girl from the hospital and ends up kind of weaving the plot in his own direction, and kind of deceives everyone, and hence he becomes one of the main aspects of Mission Zulfikar, a mission that's been assigned by ISI of Pakistan. And another main antagonist, I don't know the actor's name, but the character's name is Sajid, who also kind of deceives the whole audience, but that's not actually his work, that's the director's work, because he shows us there's someone else who is going to play his role in this mission, but it ends up being Sajid. So I liked how there was no settling in the series. There's no room for a sigh of relief. Every single second meant you're going to be at the edge of your seat. And there were different locales. There were a few episodes shot in Kashmir. There were a few episodes shot in Kerala. There were a few episodes shot in the sea. There were a few episodes shot in Delhi, Mumbai, and there were different locales, different localities being shown. And that's what I loved about the show. And the camera had like a perfect symmetry. And the way it was shot was beautiful. Now, on the contrary, the second season, at the beginning, it seemed a bit slow. the first two episodes. I mean, although it did seem a bit interesting because they were talking about the Sri Lankan Civil War, which involves Tamil rebels, LTT, and it also kind of does not forget what has happened in the previous season with the ISIS terrorists, but they kind of force you to move on from there. They really don't let you stick to that particular old story. But at the same time, they do carry certain aspects and attributes of the first season and move on with it to the second season. And they somehow try and marry those two stories together. And that's what I loved about this. Now, a lot of people complained, especially in Tamil Nadu, about how badly they handled, these characters that were being portrayed. These Tamil characters that were being portrayed. And I do accept that they were a bit irresponsible in portraying these characters, because I feel like there's a lot of influence in the state, and there's a lot of sympathizers of that particular cause. And I'm genuinely neutral, but I do feel that it's better to it's as a filmmaker or as a content creator, it's your duty or your responsibility to satisfy everyone's needs and everyone's beliefs and schools of thoughts. And I feel like Raj and DK were a bit irresponsible in that particular aspect. But there's no point in admonishing the actors, especially Samantha. Like I see how Samantha is being butchered all over the place for her portrayal, but I feel like she was the hero of the second season. She's the one who saved the second season because she was so scary on the screen, and that's what I loved about her. And at the same time, you could see the pain and agony in her eyes. She had been time and again, raped by the Sri Lankan soldiers, and at the same time, she was being taken granted by people living right next to her in her vicinity, and by men. You can also watch a particular sequence where there's this guy who's following her from the bus and trying to meddle with her, and she eventually ends up killing him in a very bad way. And it's one of the most satisfying scenes of the show. But you can see that she's being ill-treated and seen in a bad manner throughout the show, and you can see how this cause is justified to her, how her support towards this cause is justified from her point of view. And what I love about the show is that there are people always I wouldn't say bickering about, but they're always complaining about whether they're right or wrong, which is so true, because even these agents don't know if they are the right side, because even they are doing certain things, even they are deceiving the people, and even they are not successful all the time. And even these task agents are ending up doing certain things which in the name of national security ends up being the wrong thing. And I like the honesty in its portrayal. That's what I loved about the show. And the show didn't shy away from any sort of violence or any sort of profanity, and it was very raw and true to its core. And that's what I loved about Family Man in general. And I feel like Raj and DK took some time with this. And I don't know if this is true, but the first few episodes of Family Man did not have Family Man season 2 did not have great action sequences. But I think it's because of the fact that they were fighting COVID at that point, and plays a huge part. But I feel like towards the end of the show, there were a lot of fighting sequences which kind of blew me apart and was much better than the first season. Especially in the first season, the fighting sequence at the hospital and at the slum, the very first fighting sequence in the very first episode. These two fighting sequences were probably one of the best of the show. And the one at the factory at the very end, the chemical industry. The second season, though, I feel like the police custody sequence in Tamil Nadu, and the very first fight sequence when the guy from the rebel the brother of the leader is being captured by the Tamil police and Tamil Nadu police, and when they try to, arrest him, there's a resistance. There's a reticence, and that sequence, that shot was also very beautifully shown. And the very last fighting sequence when they try to stop the plane. These were the three fighting sequences which really took me aback. And I feel like even the last show could have been last scene, the last fighting sequence, like I said, the stopping of the plane could have been shot in a much better way. But I feel like with the limited resources that they had back then, they've done a very good job. Now, like I said, there were certain aspects which did bother me in the second season, but I mean, I really didn't think there were certain things which would have happened in the second season, like, Thriti, the daughter of Shrikant Tiwari, Manoj Bajpayee's character. I didn't think that after being kidnapped, she's gonna kill the kidnapper, that Kalyan or Salman guy. I really didn't think she's gonna stab him in the neck. No one saw that coming. That was a beautiful scene. And even though I didn't know that Samantha is going to kill her boss, I did not know that she's gonna cut his body into 8 different pieces and put it in a bag and dispose it every single day, one by one. So these were certain things which did come off as a surprise. And at the end, to be brutally honest, I did think that the plane is going to go and crash, but they ended up stopping it. So they did a pretty good job with it. Now, the question remains, what happened? Kya hua tha Lonavala? This is a question that pops up, everywhere in social media and has become a part of the pop culture, just for the fun of it, just for the heck of it. So there are a lot of memes floating around in the social media arena when it comes to this show. I love how it has seeped into the pop culture of India. There's one more thing that I liked about the show, then that would be the authenticity. I want to say that every single actor that was shown, when they changed the region, when they went to Kashmir or when they went to Tamil Nadu or when they went to Kerala, actors were chosen from that particular region, from that particular industry, so that every single aspect is bang on and authentic to the core. There was nothing that felt offbeat. There was nothing that felt fake, because the accent, the dialect, the way they spoke, everything was perfect. The sets were perfect. The team had done a wonderful job. The art team had done a wonderful job. The trucks which were painted, the military uniforms, everything was bang on point. And kudos to the team, because the whole credit goes to the team, because they have done a wonderful job. The crew has done a wonderful job. The casting team has been perfect, because they've casted very perfectly, and I genuinely didn't think that an actress like Samantha would be able to play this sort of a role, but they brought out the best out of her. So that's an amazing job done by Raj and DK, and authenticity is something that I have to mention in this video. So yeah, I feel like the show, the reason why it has made such a big impact would be the fact that it has been authentic and true to itself. But for me, my rating would be 8.2 out of 10 for the show. And if people ask me whether I watch this or not, and I would say definitely you should give it a shot. I never really thought I would love an Indian show this much. And I literally finished the show in a span of just a couple of days. Just 2 days, I finished 20 episodes. That's how, I literally forced myself and watched the show despite having a really bad headache, because I was, I just buried myself in the phone screen, but I still ended up watching it because that's how good it was. That's it from my side, because I'm not going to, spoil this any longer, because this has just come out. Just watch it. If you do think there is something offensive in the second season, do mention in the comment section. If you do think there's something else that I could have added regarding this show, mention it in the comment section. There are a lot of trivial aspects of the show that I can talk about, but there's just a ton of it, and it's really not possible for me to put it inside a span of one single video. But I'll see if I can dedicate another video for this. But as of now, thank you. Have a wonderful day, and do share, and subscribe this, and subscribe to our channel, and do let us know what we can cover in our upcoming videos. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.